Speaker is Dr. David Powers. Dr. Powers regularly conducts seminars on balancing the various aspects of life. He's a published author. He's written 8 books, and he has over 500 articles for newspapers and magazines. He's traveled to almost a dozen countries in search of something really good coffee, as well as adventure. He's an experienced mountain climber with numerous summits under his belt. He's also a professional scuba diver. And we were talking with him earlier and asked him if he'd ever gone skydiving, and his response was no, he was afraid of heights. How can you be a mountain climber? Anyway, okay. He's a decorated veteran of both the Marine Corps and the Army. Thank you very much, David. He's a founding member of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. He is also certified as a civilian paramedic and military combat medic. David's client list includes the United States Secret Service, the Department of Homeland Security, and the White House medical staff. In his spare time, he likes to compete in long-distance marathons and bicycle marathons, and he also has a black belt in martial arts. Dr. Powers is a certified genius and a member of the Mensa Society. He is married to Corinne and the proud father of 3 boys, the latest just arriving March 21st, 2011. So please join me in welcoming Dr. David Powers.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Powers. You can call me Dr. Dave. My kids call me Dr. Evil. I'm the kind of guy who'll try just about anything. If it's fun or compelling, I'll try it again and work at getting better. I've been described as the typical jack of all trades, master of none. I don't aim to master every activity I get into. What I do is experience them and live my life in a way that syncs perfectly with my passion. I'm an accomplished mountain climber and a professional scuba diver. I'm a published author with over 500 articles and several books to my credit. I spent time in the United States Marine Corps and almost 2 decades as a paramedic. I've completed several marathons and attained a black belt in the Aikido. All of that sounds like it's all about me, but it's not. Almost all those activities were done as part of a team. Sometimes I'm learning, sometimes I'm helping other people do amazing things. All of which is my idea of a perfect, passionate life. My job is to help you find out what your ideal life looks like. I feel so energized when speaking in front of a group. It's not because I love being the center of attention. At my core, I'm an introvert. I love speaking because it places me in a situation where I'm under pressure to deliver. I started out as a youngster, speaking in church and in school. From there, I expanded my reach into teaching classes and presentations to larger and larger groups. Big groups give me a chance to influence a lot of people, but small groups allow me to get really personal and intimate. I love working with folks. Don't mistake me for a motivational speaker though. I'm not going to make you feel good while you sit there and do nothing. I'm a firm believer in motion and activity. What I will do as a speaker is challenge you to do more, do less, or do something different, as long as you're doing something to sync your life with your passion. I guess you could call me a demotivational speaker in that respect. I'll encourage you if that's what you need, or I'll kick your butt if I have to. I can keep you awake and excited, make you laugh, and also make you mad at the same time. I'll not only challenge you, but make you follow through on it. I once had a friend tell me, why don't you quit doing so much and leave something for the rest of us? So I told her, well, why don't you just join me? We create our own prisons in life, but there's no reason to stay trapped there. I try to live my life by a simple philosophy expressed in this quote. A master in the art of living draws no sharp distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his education and his recreation. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence through whatever he's doing and leaves others to determine whether he is working or playing. To himself, he always seems to be doing both. Enough for him that he does it well. Many people find themselves locked into lives that are passionless, boring, or miserable. I don't want to be that way or see other people stranded there. I want to encourage people to live their bucket list right now, instead of waiting until they're either too old or too sick to enjoy their life. Life is full of turning points, where you can sit still, move forward, or go back the way you came. You have to make a choice though. Even if you sit still, you're still making a choice to stay that way. I consider it my job in life to help people make the right decisions and get moving. Forward or backward doesn't matter so much, as long as the movement takes you toward your dream life. The two main methods I use to influence people are through personal coaching and speaking. With personal coaching, we meet one-on-one in person or through the internet and develop a plan to create your perfect life. As a speaker, I often deliver lectures and workshops that are more general in nature, but will give you a guide to help mold your journey through life into something you enjoy, something you can be proud of. Think of yourself, your employees, even your friends and family. How much better would your life and their lives be if everyone knew where they were headed and had a plan to get there? Take the opportunity to explore my website and see what else I have to offer. I'd love to hear from you. You can find links to my blog, articles I've written, and even videos of some of my adventures.
I tell you what, Angela did the worst possible thing to me when she set this up. She gave me, is this on? I'll be alright without it. Y'all hear me good, right? She made me speak after Coach Bennett. And I tell you, that's not the most inviting prospect. He has a much more manly voice than I do. But I'm glad he wore jeans. Because if you're going to do something, especially something as uncomfortable or potentially uncomfortable as speaking to a group of people, you got to be comfortable. So you got to wear what you feel good in, wear what makes you feel good. Now, has anybody here ever taken a personality profile? Most of us. They go by lots of names. I mean, myself, I love taking, you might say I'm addicted to them. I love taking personality profiles. Every chance I get, I'll take it, even if it's the same one over again, because I like to see if it's changed. I like to see if I've grown as a person, maybe gone down a little bit as a person, which areas I need to work on. So I like taking personality profiles. Now the Myers-Briggs, everybody heard of that one? Most of you have probably done that one. There's the Myers-Briggs. I'm an INTJ. Now do we have any other introverts out there? No other? Oh, the only introvert in here is up on stage. So the I in there, oh, yeah, the introverts aren't going to speak up anyway, are they? Yeah, so I'm an introvert, and also the J stands for judgmental. And you ask my mom over there, I'm extreme on the J side. Definitely very judgmental. And there's also the DISC. Now that's the one I like to use a lot with my clients, the DISC, which stands for dominant, steady, compliant, informational. I'm a high D and a high C, which means on the DISC profile, I'll not only tell you what to do, but then I'll tell you how to do it, what time frame, and give you 14 alternatives if you can't do it right the way I wanted you to do it the first time. And then I'll follow up on you as well. So that's the DISC. Now, has anybody ever taken that one? Okay, wow, we've got a lot of veterans of the personality profiles in here. Well, there's a lot of others. You see a lot of other ones out there. I've taken some that tell you which animal you are. I'm a lion and an owl. Bit of a comparison there. Which biblical character you're most in relation to. I've taken that one. I'm like Ruth in the Old Testament, embracing my feminine side, obviously. And I'm also like Paul in the New Testament. Now those are some big sandals to fill there, Paul in the New Testament. So that's who I'm most like as a biblical character. Has anyone ever taken that one? That one's pretty neat. Usually just see it in church leadership things. And that way, the pastor knows how to best deal with you and also which stories to tell you and all that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. There's another one where you can actually find out which historical character you are. Thomas Edison and Mozart. I can't play piano. There's a piano back here. I can hurt everyone's ears just by opening the doors to it. So, personality profiles are a lot of fun. I finished reading a book recently called Surviving Your Serengeti by Stephen Swanepoel. He wrote this book. This one actually takes African animals and it builds this business fable. It's a fictional story, but it shows business aspects through this story, and it uses all the animals from the African Serengeti. You can actually go on this guy's website and find out which African animal you are. You have cheetahs, elephants, crocodiles, giraffes. Now, I am most like the enterprising crocodile. Not the opportunistic crocodile, but the enterprising crocodile. So if you get a chance, just check that out. It's called Surviving Your Serengeti. It's pretty neat. It's a lot of fun. Now, profiles, though, That's one of the first things I do with new clients. I like to get a profile, I'll send it to them on the email, we'll do it on the computer. Before I ever meet with them for the first time, I have to do a profile with them. And that way I know how best to deal with them. And like Coach Gilmore said earlier, about how kids in the old days, you had to deal with them differently than you do the ones now, the ones that have cars, the ones that have everything. What do they call it? The entitlement generation. You know, you have to deal differently with those folks. And even among them, you're gonna find different personalities. So that's why I give that to a client. That way I find out, is this a client that I'm gonna have to look square in the eye and start yelling at them? You know, say, drop and give me 20. You know, anytime I want them to do something. Or is it the client that I'm gonna have to approach with a pie graph and charts and a PowerPoint presentation with Excel formulas and everything on it, and approach them in this manner? You know, if you look at skydiving and death, only an average of about 65 people die every year. Now, of those 65 people that die, 30% of it happens on the landing. So at least if you do perish, you'll enjoy the dive and have something to look forward to in the afterlife. You know, so sometimes you have to deal with certain people that way. You know, you go to them with numbers. Now, that, you know, a lot of logic in that skydiving thing, I've not been skydiving at all. And the thing about skydiving and the fear of heights is, when I'm mountain climbing, I'm roped into something. You know, somebody, which that's not always the best anchor, because if they fall, I'll fall, or, you know, I may drag them down with me. But I'm roped into something, a rock, a person, something that ties me down to planet Earth. Skydiving is just something that I've not been pushed into yet. Now, I've had clients that wanted to do it, and I will encourage them with all my heart to do what they dream about doing. But I don't necessarily go with them every time. Now, so, personality profiles, though, it's amazing how you can take these general questions, a completely generalized question about a situation or about a past action you've done, and it's absolutely amazing how a general question can tell you so much about yourself. It's even scary in some respects, because most people that have never taken a personality profile, I'll say, you know, do these questions, it'll help me learn how to deal with you, tell me a lot about you, and they usually just think it's, you know, hocus pocus, Tony Robbins kind of thing, that just, I'll answer these questions and it's just a waste of my time. But it's pretty scary, so I would encourage everybody, anytime you get a chance to do that again, just try it again. Because one of the things that's really neat is that you can see all these graphs and you can see through different periods of your life. I mean, myself as a parent, my graphs and where I focused at, the things that my life focused on changed dramatically when I became a parent. And so you can actually watch that happen in different jobs, you know, different jobs, parenting, different phases of your life. Even particular things you're going through, a sickness, an illness, something new you're pushing yourself to try. Now, not all of us though can look at these profiles and see the same things that others do. Now myself, aside from learning about clients, I like to use these profiles as aids, because one of the things I do is encourage people to go off and do new things, encourage them to do new challenges. It's like the coach, if he gets somebody that's, you know, maybe afraid of that 300-pound linebacker on the other side, it's his job to encourage them to tackle that, to take that on, and not be afraid of something new. See, one of the things I like to do with the profiles is, as you look at the profiles, you can see places in there where you might need to change. You can use that as an aid to spur on something new. Use that personality profile not as an indicator of what you have to do, but perhaps as an indicator of where you need to change, what you need to do differently. Now, Stephan says in the book, Surviving Your Serengeti, although some rare and fortunate individuals have been born with several talents, we frequently have to adapt and learn to expand our skill set. Now, in the book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah asks, can the leopard change its spots? You know, the answer is no, the leopard can't change its spots. But we're not leopards, we're people. And despite what a personality profile tells you about yourself, whether you're this animal, whether you're most like this biblical personality, whether you're most like this personality defect or, you know, success, you can change your spots. And that's what I wanted to speak to everyone about today, is being true to yourself. You see, no matter what anybody tells you, no matter what a personality profile tells you, you need to be true to yourself. You need to decide who you're going to be, what you're going to do, how you're going to act in any given situation, and try to plan for those things, and use every aid that you can find to define yourself. Now, like I said, I'm an INTJ, an introvert. That's my main thing. For the introverts that are in here and didn't speak up, introverts, we avoid social situations. I I attend a lot of social functions, and what I do is I usually go hide in the corner. And the other thing is, I'm perfectly happy with that. You know, we're uncomfortable in big social situations, but sometimes we still have to do it. I can't let my personality profile dictate how I operate my business. If I don't ever speak to people, if I don't ever come up here. And the thing is about being an introvert, I really enjoy doing this. I'll get uncomfortable. The day of the event, I'll be extremely nervous all day long. I usually don't talk to people very much before I speak, and that's why. I'm an introvert. But I get up here because I love helping people. And just like it said on my commercial, and believe me, that was a stretch getting me to do that, but I had to for my business. But I just have to tackle my personality profile and change what I need to make my life better. And that's the thing about your lives. You have to be true to yourself. There's a guy named Don Miller that wrote a book called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. It's a really good book. And the book is about his experience making a movie about his life. Now, one of the things, though, when he sat down with the screenwriters for this movie, they sat there and they read through this story, all this, the memoir he had written previously, and they said, you know what? This part is a little boring. It won't work very good on the movie. You know, can we change that around a little bit in the movie? In other words, they're looking at this guy and they're basically saying, you know, there's some big parts of your life, big chunks, these things that really shaped you and framed you, and they're kind of bored. Can we change this for the movie? Is that okay with you? And see, what came out of that for him was that he decided, you know what, we need to sit down and write our movie before we live it. We all need to sit down and look at our lives, the lives that we want, and decide the plot, the main character, which is you, the supporting characters. What's going to happen next? We need to write out that movie before we live it, and then craft a life and create a life that everybody in this auditorium and everywhere else would be sitting in the front row of the movie theater, putting on 3D glasses, listening to the Dolby surround sound of your life. And see, that's what he encourages people to do, and that's what I try to encourage people to do. You know, write your bucket list now. I mean, everybody in here is pretty young. Write your bucket list now while you're healthy, while you have money, while you have people to enjoy it with, and go live it. Don't wait until, most of you have seen the movie, The Bucket List, right? I mean, those two guys in that movie, they were old and sick. And they barely made most of the things on that bucket list. So write it now and go live it now. And maybe it's coaching an NCAA football team. Maybe it's leading a local business in the Myrtle Beach area. Or maybe it's teaching at Yourself Technical College. No matter what it is, no matter how big or how small you think it is, that's what you need to do. And be true to yourself. No matter what any personality profile or anything else tells you. Now, there's a mountain climber called Scott Fisher. I brought along a little toy to illustrate this story. Scott Fisher was a mountain climber, a very famous mountain climber. He climbed K2, he climbed Everest, Lhotse. I mean, most of the peaks that are over 8,000 meters where people have to use oxygen, he climbed them. Now, he was on a mountain climb out west. It was a mixed route with snow and rock, and he's using an ice axe to climb this route. It's a hard route, and all of his friends are down at the bottom watching him. He missteps and falls 40 feet to the ground off that route. Now, when he fell, he rolled over, he looked at his leg, and the ice axe he was using had actually gone through his calf. So he rolled over, kind of looked at it, dumbfounded. I mean, you know how the shock when you first get hurt, you don't feel the pain for a little bit. And he looked at it, and he pulled this ice axe out of his leg. Now, the ice axe he was using at this time, and I love getting graphic with stories because it's a lot of fun. The ice axe he was using actually had a hollow blade. So when he pulled this thing out of his calf muscle, it pretty much took a core sample of his calf. And you know what he did, though? Being true to himself, he didn't go to the hospital. He didn't quit. He didn't say, well, my personality profile says that when I encounter adversity, I need to step back and reevaluate the situation before I proceed with anything else. No, he wrapped his leg up, did the best he could to stop the bleeding, and climbed back up on that route and finished it. Finished that route despite what happened to him, despite circumstances, despite what all of his friends were saying, which was, come on, let's call an ambulance, please. He went back up and finished that route. And after that, I mean, he went on to many other exploits, helping people climb mountains. He eventually died on Mount Everest, but you know what? He died doing exactly what he loved. He was climbing the tallest mountain in the world. He was leading a trip helping other climbers get to the top of the tallest mountain in the world. He was being true to himself, even to the point where that was it. You know, where there was no more Scott Fisher. So that's the point I wanted to get across to everybody today, just to be true to yourself. when you're looking in this movie that you're writing about your life, you need to define the ideal you that you would be if there were no obstacles, no distractions, nothing to get in the way, nothing to slow you down, nothing to stop you from achieving your dreams. And we've heard some great speakers today. You're fixing to hear from Angela again, an awesome speaker. So a wealth of information today, previously, from now on. And you can take these characters from books and movies and people you've met today and people you're going to meet. Take all the characteristics from their lives that you like, that you want to be the ideal you, and put that into your life. So right now as you're sitting here and I wrap up, you have to decide as you leave this auditorium today, you're going to go back to work or go back home. Maybe you're just going to go out and eat or go to a happy hour. You have to decide when you get up from here, are you going to be the same person when you walk out? Are you going to get up and run out because you want to run home and get started on writing a movie about your life? Are you going to kind of swagger out, just walk out looking around because you're excited to be you and this is the first step to the new you? Or are you going to sit in here and socialize with some people? See, I might do that. That's totally against my nature, but I might do that. So you have to decide, and if any of you come up and talk to me, I'll say hey. I won't say much more. If you ask me questions, I'll answer, but that's my nature, but I'm going to stay around and chance it. You know what? So, just as you leave here, just stand up, walk out, and be excited about tomorrow and the rest of your life and everything else that's going to happen. And plan big things. Plan big things and fail, and then plan bigger things and keep trying bigger and bigger, more and more, until you find exactly what you want to do in life and do everything you've always dreamed about. Thank you.
I'm motivated to go out and climb a mountain maybe, or better yet, go to happy hour for myself. One more thing about the American Cancer Society. The journey through cancer is very hard, and it's not only hard on the cancer patient, but also on the families. And the American Cancer Society offers a lot of free avenues to help the patients and the families survive. One of those is the Road to Recovery, where patients are given free rides to and from their treatment, which is awesome. There's also a man-to-man where prostate cancer patients speak with other men who have survived prostate cancer. And then one of my favorites is the Look Good to Feel Better, and that's where women are given free wigs